Hey everybody, this is Jack Frew. If you don't know me, I do some training stuff at work. I do some screencasting. I help out on a live netcast. And one of the problems I have is I have a very noisy computer fan in the background. So I wanted to take a look at some plugins that purport to reduce or remove noise. And I thought the best way to do that would just be to download a bunch of demos and give them a try. So what we've got today here is we have the NS1 plugin from Waves. We have the WNS plugin from Waves. We have the RX4 Dialog Denoiser. This is part of both the RX4 Standard and the Advanced Suite. We have the Acon Digital Denoise plugin, which is part of the Acon Digital Restoration Suite. And then we have the denoiser that comes built into Logic Pro. So I'm using a MacBook Pro here. I've got Logic Pro X. And let's just take a quick look at our track here. So what I've done is I've got a pre-recording of me with the fan noise in the background. It'll be different than the noise you hear now. What we'll do is we'll just listen to these one at a time. It's gonna be a little bit of a long screencast, but if you're interested in these plugins, it might save you some money or help you make a decision, because it's kind of the process I'm going through right now, is where does it make sense to put the dollars. So the first one we're gonna try is actually gonna be this NS1. Let's bring that up on the screen. That's this guy right here. Now, if you're not familiar with Logic, let me just give you a quick overview of what we're going to do here. I'm going to hit V on the keyboard to get rid of those. The selected track is this one right here. Okay. I'm not going to solo it because we'll stop before we get there. I've got this on repeat mode here. And then over on the left-hand side, you can see I've got plugins for this. See, it says fan noise here, fan noise there. These are my plugins. If it's blue, it means it's turned on. I can turn it on and off right here. Okay, I can see the plugin by clicking on this. And if I turn it on and off over here, like watch this, I'll do this, and watch this power light over here, see how that goes on and off. So you can kind of tell which one's on, which one's not on, right? So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna play through this. So let's play a little bit of it without any plugins first. Hey everybody, this is Jack Frew. I've got a test here. My microphone is right above my computer, which is whiny and noisy. Okay, so there's a little bit of fan noise in the background. If you can't hear that, there's definitely some fan noise there. So what we'll do is we're going to try this with the NS1 plugin. So let's try NS1. I'm going to turn that on, and let's go ahead and I'll just close out these other ones so that they're not on the screen at the same time. Now we'll try it with it at 0, which basically means it's turned off, and then we'll crank it up as we go. Hey everybody, this is Jack Frew. I've got a test here. My microphone is right above my computer, which is whiny and noisy. Now, if you didn't hear it, when I fade it up to about 20, 25 here, most of the fan noise goes away, but it sounds like it's almost like a gate with a delay, because after I finish talking, you can hear a little bit of that fan noise creep in. Let me hit play and you can hear the rest of that. Hear that in the background there, a little fan noise. Let's try out some of these Waves plugins and see how it does with removing the sound of the microphone. So not great. Let's try it again and we'll turn it up. So let's just hit play and I'll turn it up a little bit more. Hey everybody, this is Jack Frew. I've got a test here. My microphone is right above my computer, which is whiny and noisy. Hear that in the background there, a little fan noise. Let's try out some of these Waves plugins and see how it does with removing the sound of the microphone. I'm sorry, the sound of the computer noise from the microphone. Thanks. Okay, so that one, it's not bad. It certainly removed all the fan noise. But let's do an A/B comparison as we play, because I think it changes a little bit of the tone of the voice and maybe the sharpness. So let's try that. Hey everybody, this is Jack Frew. I've got a test here. My microphone is right above my computer, which is whiny and noisy. Hear that in the background there, a little fan noise. Let's try out some of these Waves plugins and see how it does with removing the sound of the microphone. I'm sorry, the sound of the computer noise from the microphone. Thanks. So overall, not bad on that one. Not bad. I think it does a nice job. Let's go and look at the next plugin, which is the WNS. So I'm going to go ahead and close that one. We'll go ahead and turn this one on. And this one's a little bit more complicated, as you can see. I'm not going to purport to know what I'm doing with it. Let's see if there's any presets for, yeah, there really isn't. I'm going to do a full reset on it. And let's just see what it does. Hey everybody, this is Jack Frew. I've got a test here. My microphone is right above my computer, which is whiny and noisy. Okay, doesn't seem to be doing anything. Now, one of the things that I've heard is good about this is this suggest feature. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a little bit. I'm going to hit the suggest button. Power's on. Let's hit play. Hey everybody, this is Jack Frew. I've got a test. And then let's do the suggest. Hey everybody, this is Jack Frew. I've got a test here. My microphone is right above my computer, which is whiny. Okay, so the higher pitched sound of the fan seems to have kind of been taken away a little bit. Probably corresponds to the equalizer if I'm not, if I'm just guessing. Hey everybody, this is Jack Frew. I've got a test here. My microphone is right above my computer, which is whiny and noisy. Hear that in the background there, a little fan noise. I'm going to try out some of these Waves plugins and see how it does with removing the sound of the microphone. I'm sorry, the sound of the computer noise from the microphone. Thanks. Okay, so interesting, it does not remove everything. Some pros of this one so far, and let's just bring that up on the screen, the WNS, it does not seem to color the sound too much. Sounds okay. Let's go on to the Acon Digital. Get rid of this one off the screen here. And we're going to do the same thing here. We'll go to recall default, and I'm going to go to reset here. And let's just turn it on, and we'll hit play. Hey everybody, this is Jack Frew. I've got a test here. My microphone is right above my computer, which is whiny and noisy. Hear that in the background there, a little fan noise. I'm going to try out some of these Waves plugins and see how it does with removing the sound. I'm sorry, the sound of the computer noise from the microphone. Okay, now that silent dropout that you heard, that's because I'm running a demo eval copy, and it silences out after every once in a while. That wouldn't happen, obviously, in the paid one. So, not bad. To me, I hear a little bit of tunnely sound, like it sounds like it's coming through a tube or something. We'll tinker with some of these knobs this time through. Hey everybody, this is Jack Frew. I've got a test here. My microphone is right above my computer, which is whiny and noisy. Hear that in the background there, a little fan noise. I'm going to try out some of these Waves plugins and see how it does with removing the sound of the microphone. I'm sorry, the sound of the computer noise from the microphone. Thanks. Hey, so not bad there. We have some adjustments that we can make here. There's a reduction meter, a maximum attenuation here. Let's try that one more time just to get a feel for that. Hey everybody, this is Jack Frew. I've got a test here. Is right above my computer, which is whiny and noisy. Hear that in the background. And let's compare that to what it sounds like with and without. Hey everybody, this is Jack Frew. I've got a test here. My microphone is right above my computer, which is whiny and noisy. Hear that in the background there, a little fan noise. I'm going to try out some of these Waves plugins and see how it does with removing the sound of the microphone. I'm sorry, the sound of the computer noise from the microphone. Thanks. Okay, so Acon does a decent job. I feel like it adds a little bit of that tunnel effect to it. Let's try now the iZotope RX Dialog Denoiser. So this is this one here. We're going to leave this in auto mode. I'm going to go ahead and do a recall default, and I think they might have a, there's default there. There we go. And we're on auto mode here. So we'll go ahead and hit play. Hey everybody, this is Jack Frew. I've got a test. Microphone is right above my computer, which is whiny and noisy. Hear that in the background there, a little fan noise. I'm going to try out some of these Waves plugins and see how it does with Okay, so overall, not any better so far. Let's try to bring up the threshold and the reduction. We'll just max this thing out. Hey everybody, this is Jack Frew. I've got a test here of my microphone, which is whiny and noisy. Hear that in the background there, a little fan noise. I'm going to try out some of these Waves plugins and see how it does with removing the sound of the microphone. I'm sorry, the sound of the computer noise from the microphone. Okay, so on that one, maxed out, it actually seems to do a pretty good job. Now, let's come back to these things because we might want to compare a few of them. I'll go ahead and turn this off. And last but not least, let's try the denoiser that's built into Logic Pro. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go back to default here. This doesn't do a whole lot of anything in its default state, if I remember right. Let's go ahead and hit play. Hey everybody, this is Jack Frew. I've got a test. Okay, right off the bat, do you hear that kind of computery like sound in the background? Definitely not good. Now, one thing that we can do with this plugin, and it takes some time, is we can dial this in, right? You can see there's a little bit more control here. Let's change the default to, let's say, like a pink noise or a white noise filter, because that's similar, I think, in sound to the computer fan. Now, one thing we notice is the reduction went to 5. That's barely anything. Let's turn it more, because I want to be able to hear the effect of this. And we'll probably have to loop through this a few times to get this right. Hey everybody, this is Jack Frew. I've got a test here. My microphone is right above my computer, which is whiny and noisy. Hear that in the background there, a little fan noise. I'm going to try out some of these Waves plugins and see how it does with removing the sound of the microphone. I'm sorry, the sound of the computer noise from the microphone. Thanks. Okay, so you can see in the threshold bar, anything below -33, it seemed like it didn't do anything to. When I got to 33 or above, it seems to kick in. It also seems as though the noise type does best at the bottom of this slider range. It goes from -1 to +1. I'll play that again so you can see that. Hey everybody, this is Jack Frew. I've got a test here. My microphone above my see how it does with removing the sound of the microphone. I'm sorry. Okay, so as you can see there, as I moved the noise slider up, it actually thought my voice was the noise. So we want to keep this thing down. I didn't look at it too closely to see if it's exactly, if it's -8, if it's -1, whatever, but that's kind of the thing. 100 decibels of reduction is a lot. Now, if you get artifacts and you don't care if you do 100% reduction of the background, you can kind of blend it, if you will, by bringing this up, and you can see the kind of the noise picture in there. So I don't know that there were any artifacts. Let's try it again. Everybody, this is Jack Frew. I've got a test here. My microphone is right above my computer, which is whiny and noisy. Hear that in the background there, a little fan noise. I'm going to try out some of these Waves plugins and see how it does with removing the sound of the microphone. I'm sorry, the sound of the computer noise from the microphone. Now there you see, I moved it all the way up to 0. It wasn't so great. So we can try a threshold. This brings to light something that I've seen in all of these sound plugins. Signal noise ratio is important. Right? The louder your voice can be relative to the fan noise, the better, which means maybe speaking right on top of the mic or whatever. Let's run this through one more time. Hey, this is Jack Frew. I've got a test here. My microphone is right above my computer, which is whiny and noisy. Hear that in the background there, a little fan noise. I'm going to try out some of these Waves plugins and see how it does with removing the sound of the microphone. I'm sorry, the sound of the computer noise from the microphone. Thanks. Okay, so let's just, one last time, we're just going to do an A-B. Hey everybody, this is Jack Frew. I've got a test here. My microphone is right above my computer, which is whiny and noisy. Hear that in the background there, a little fan noise. I'm going to try out some of these Waves plugins and see. So I still feel like it's got a little bit of a, I don't know how to explain it. There's a signature I feel like I hear here, and this might be something that could be tweaked out better, but very similar to the Acon plugin, where it felt like a dangerous plugin to use. That if you weren't on top of your game, listening with headphones in a quiet environment when you did the mastering work, that you might end up making it worse. Well, maybe not worse, I guess is the right way. But you might introduce something that you don't anticipate introducing that your audience is going to hear. To me, let's go back and look at the NS one. This one's normally $200. I think it's on sale for $100 right now, which is what spurred me to take a look at it. And let's just compare this thing maxed out versus the iZotope. Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm a little bit biased towards the iZotope. And the only reason for this is that RX4 is like the industry standard, right? It's used in Hollywood films. It's used in television production. Now, just so you're aware, RX4 Dialog Denoiser, this is part of the RX4 suite. There are other things that come with it, and there's some different value propositions there. This normally retails for $349. You can sometimes find it on sale for $249. But the big thing is that it's one piece of a greater kit, so kind of hard to compare value there. But let's look at this. Would it be worth $100 to get this one versus this one? Let's take a look here. So we're just going to go through here. We'll turn on this one. We'll turn it up all the way, and we'll hit play. Hey everybody, this is Jack Frew. I've got a test here. My microphone is right above my computer, which is whiny and noisy. Hear that in the background there, a little fan noise. I'm going to try out some of these Waves plugins and see how it does with removing the sound of the microphone. I'm sorry, the sound of the computer noise. All right, and then let's flip over and we'll try the RX again with its maximum settings here. Hey everybody, this is Jack Frew. I've got a test here. My microphone is right above my computer, which is whiny and noisy. Hear that in the background there, a little fan noise. And try out some of these Waves plugins and see how it does with the sound of the microphone. I'm sorry, the sound of the computer noise from the microphone. Thanks. All right, those two are pretty good. I would probably be happy with either one. Like I said, there's a part of me that thinks the RX4 stuff is awesome just because I know so many other people that I respect that are in the industry that's what they use. Okay, so that's a quick overview of all of these things. I would be curious in the notes if you could tell me which one you thought was better. Let's kind of go over all of these again just for a second, and we'll look at pricing and stuff and kind of talk about that. So these are the plugins again. We had the one that was built into Logic Pro. If you have Logic Pro or any other digital audio editor, it probably has some kind of denoiser in it. Something to look at. We also looked at two of them from Waves, the NS1 and the WNS, this guy here. We looked at this one from Acon Digital, which is part of a bundle. And we looked at this one here from RX4, which is actually from iZotope, which is also part of a bundle. So let's take a look at these plugins for a second. So here's the NS1 suppressor here. It's normally $200. It's on sale right now for $99. Seems like Waves run sales quite a bit, so $99 is kind of the price I would hold out for. It's got some pretty good reviews on their site, and not all their plugins do, by the way, so it's not like these are rigged or anything. I thought NS1 was a pretty decent tool. It didn't sound horrible to me. Seemed like it did the job. I love the fact that there was one slider. I would definitely consider this guy. Now, the next one up was this WNS noise suppressor at $199. For me, I didn't feel this one did as good a job as some of the other tools out there, but this is just for my specific use case, which in my case here is my voice, right? And then the computer fan, which is kind of loud. If you had a different kind of noise, this might be just the sweet spot. So take that in mind as far as the comparison goes. It is a voice and fan noise comparison as opposed to, traffic on the street or an AC hum or things like that. Right. Anyway, it's normally $600. That seems kind of steep to me. On sale for $200 also seems kind of steep, again, for what I was going to use it for. Then we go into this Acon Digital. If you're not familiar with them, it looks like this restoration suite is the noise reduction plugins. You get the denoise plugin, which we looked at. There's also a dehum plugin, a declick plugin, and a declipping plugin, right? The whole suite is only $99. So price-wise, it's no more expensive than anything else we looked at here. My problem with the Acon one was I just felt like from a sound quality perspective, it just seemed like it added a bit of tunnely effect to me. Now, that very well could be, switch back here for a second, that very well could be that I just didn't spend enough time playing with the knobs, right? Personally, I prefer something nice and easy like one slider or something like this with maybe two, as opposed to having to try to understand and deal with all these thresholds here, right? That's just me. But this, if I found this suite on sale and it was $50, I'd probably pick it up. It's got enough things in it that I might use it once in a while, right? Last but not least is this industry standard RX4. I know a guy that does recording. He's out in LA. He uses this tool. I've watched videos. People use this tool for television production. They use it for film. I mean, it's used everywhere. Now, RX4 is not cheap. It's $350 normally for the standard edition, and it's $1,200 for the advanced edition. Now, what we looked at today, that plugin that we looked at, let's go back for a second here, this RX4 Dialog Denoiser, this is actually pretty cool because this used to be only in the advanced edition with RX3. When they came out with RX4, this got moved into the standard edition. So it puts it within reach. I don't know that I could justify paying $1,000 for it, but for $300, and honestly, if you look on Amazon, I've seen it there for $250. You can get the standard suite of tools. Now, RX, not only being industry standard, you get other stuff in RX4 standard. If we look at the comparison table, they've got other tools that come with it. So it's very similar to the Acon suite in that sense, in that it has other things. Now, the advanced one has a lot more. There is one thing that RX4 has that is really, I think, its claim to fame, and that is this, what they call a spectral editor. Okay, if you've never seen one of these before, this is definitely worth a look. And if you consider $250 on sale, and it also comes with this spectral editor. I think that the two of those together, they really could make it worth it. Depends on your use case, right? Depends on obviously whose pocket's paying the bill and what the use case is. But what you do with a spectral editor, if you're not familiar with it, is this shows you the blue waveform you have to kind of ignore. They let you turn that off. This shows you frequency in the up and down domain and time in the left right domain. And I can actually, like, if there was a phone ringing, it might show up as a bright dot here, here, and here. I can actually go in and select those bright dots, and I can remove those without altering any of the other sounds. So if somebody actually has like a cell phone that's ringing while they're talking like to you, in some cases, you can go in and you can mute or get rid of the sound of the cell phone. Now, if there are overlapping frequency ranges, the challenges there. But bottom line is RX4 is the one that most people compare to. For that reason, maybe it's all in my head, I felt like RX4 did probably the best job of, 1, removing the noise, 2, having no effort on my part, and 3, not sounding like it had removed the noise, right? This one, I thought, at times it didn't sound that great. This guy did a pretty good job, but I still felt like I could tell it was there, right? This one, interestingly enough, didn't do that good of a job, but I couldn't tell it was there. And then this one, as you saw, you really have to mess with it. To me, it was almost too much effort, although, if it's already there and it's free, it certainly might be worth that effort. So anyway, that's it. My name is Jack Frew. I hope this video helped you. If it did, please like it. If you sat through 30 minutes of watching this, at this point, you might as well hit the little thumbs up and help other people find this comparison. Thanks.